everyone. This is Jeanne B with Fun with Art. How are you today? I just want to welcome everyone back. Hopefully you all had a wonderful holiday time. So I figured it's January, and here I'm in the Northeast, and we got bombarded with snow. Lots and lots and lots of snow, which is fine. It's all good. So I was looking through all my different crafts and what I needed to do, and I wanted to use up some of this stuff. And everybody was telling me it's dry January. Well, I'm not a big drinker to begin with. Like, I'll go out to dinner, I'll have a glass of wine, but I don't drink a lot. So I had to order these. I had to order corks because I said, well, everybody must have a whole bunch of corks left over from the holiday season. So I wanted to do some cork art. It's quirky, but it's cute. It's fun, and I think you'll enjoy it. So the first little thing we're going to make, no, don't laugh, but this is my little snowman. Look at that nose. Can you stand it? I mean, who has a carrot nose like that? But he's simple to make, he's fun to make. I enjoyed making him, and I'm laughing because you know how many times I bought this head? I bought little tiny heads, and they didn't fit because the hat didn't fit on his head. So, you know, I learned a lot while I was doing all of these. I learned patience, because you really have to let things set when you're working with corks. And so that's the first thing we're going to make. We're going to make a couple of cute little projects. I figured that way you have something to do, you know, in case you get snowed in or until the holiday season, you know, we don't have enough to do. So the first thing you're going to do is, excuse me, you have to excuse me because my voice is going, and I'm just going to cough. It's all good. So I purchased these little pieces of wood. You could use whatever you choose to use. I found that these worked best, and you can buy them at any local hardware hobby store. Anybody has them. Now, you're going to need a bunch of different corks, but the thing you're going to do is, this is your first step. You need the base. It's always good to have a good foundation, right? Because if you have a good foundation, you can build upon it. If your foundation is faulty, then things fall apart. So this is a big solid piece of wood. It's not going anywhere, nothing gets through it, and we can now use it to build upon it. Now the first thing I did was I took 2 corks and I just glued them. As you can see, these are used corks. Well, I didn't say I didn't drink, I just said I don't drink a lot. So these are used corks, and so we use these through the holidays. So you're going to take this. I used hot glue. If you choose not to use hot glue, I'm sure it will work with anything else. I don't feel that Elmer's glue or any kind of school glue would work, because you need something to make it set quickly. And those take a lot of time to harden. So I would use, if you want to use, they have the E300. They have a lot of different glues out there. You can try super glue if you want, if you're really good at it. I always tend to get my fingers stuck together, so I'm not good at that. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to do that. First, you're going to find the foundation. Then you're going to start building on your foundation, which is just these 2 little corks. The next thing I want to do is, I want to take this, and I need to make a body. And so if I placed it the same way, it would just look like a pile of logs, correct? So this way, I wanted to place it so that it had some stability to it, so that way I can build upon it. So I put one this way. Now the next one that's going to go on there, I'm going to show you, these things are so simple, is the thing with the hands. Now, this is the key when you put this in. I show you. I bought these little pieces of plastic that look like sticks. Yes, you can use regular sticks. That'd be even more perfect. It's fine. You got your Christmas tree that you were taking apart, the little branches. I always buy a little Christmas tree. I don't have a real one anymore, so I use a little fake one, a real one that's little. That makes sense? And at the end, I usually break off the branches and I'll save some. You can use those. The key is, when I did this, you put these together first, because if you don't, this is going to keep falling apart. So you want to make sure the foundation, you're putting this like this, and if you start putting in the plastic, whatever you use for the arms here, all of that is just going to come apart and it's going to fall apart. Trust me, I know. I did these for I also volunteer and do a craft for some of the elderly people at a residence home. And so I made them little kits. And I was thinking, oh man, they're never gonna get these in there. So that's what I did. That's why I knew to make sure the arms were done separately. And then all I did was I poked a little hole. I have a little sharp scissor. You can use a little poker, whatever, just don't stab yourself. And you can do that. And so it's very, very simple. I mean, you know, and then you end up with a little snowman. Now, I bought the noses. I think the noses are kind of cute. I did the little eyes because I had put those little googly eyes, and actually the snowman was frankly, he was kind of scary. So you do you. I had bought the scarves because I don't knit. If you knit, wonderful. People can crochet up a little scarf, whatever you want, that's fine. I don't knit, so I had purchased them on Amazon. And I actually just dotted the eyes, that's it. But you do you if you want something a little bit more. You can make stocking hats. You can make any kind of hat you want. Like I said, I don't knit. So I didn't think a paper hat would look very well. So what I did was I bought these. The reason they're so big was because I made the mistake of how big they needed to be. And so I ended up having to buy very big heads. But in the long run, I think it's kind of cute. So that's our first project. So I'm still into the corks now. So the next thing is, I thought these would be really interesting to do. And so the next thing is we're going to make, look at these, you can't beat them. Aren't they the cutest little guys? They're little horses, and they're all made out of cork. Now, you're gonna say, Jeannie, really? I'm like, yes. They're supposed to resemble rocking horses, but I didn't have a piece of wood that bend, so you can basically use whatever kind of wood you choose to put it on. This is what we're gonna do. You need exactly, let me see, I have them all here. You need about 5 corks, okay? So the first thing you're gonna do, obviously, is I did not put the piece of wood till the last thing. I'm gonna move these to the side so that way you can actually see what I'm doing. The first thing I'm gonna do is I need to build a structure. Today's all about structure and the importance of it. Now, when you're working with cork, I'm going to teach you something that it took me many tries to figure out. Was you have to. I love hot glue, so I use hot glue on pretty much anything. If I could hot glue the hem of my pants, I would. And to tell you the truth, I think I have a couple of times. Anyways, so what I did was I glued these two like this. The corks are too big, so I had to cut the cork. Down to a certain size. I decided that I would be smart and just use the line that was around the cork. And I got it halfway. Now I did it with one of those little knives. You can do it with whatever you choose. I mean, some people have very structured tools that they use. By all means, go for it. And then all I did was pop it off, and it works just fine. So this is the basis of how we're going to start the horse. Now, the second thing I wanted to show you was, and I did it in steps so that you could see exactly how easy this is and how fun it can be for you or even your child. I took that, right? Then, of course, you have to put a neck on the thing. Now, the interesting part about this is when you glue the two, when you glue this body part down, you have to make sure, as you can see in this one, that you leave room to put the neck. If you don't, it falls off. Trust me, it doesn't work. The other thing is, and I wanted to show you this, was to make sure the neck part, you cut a little bit of a V out. That way you can put the cork in, like this, to make the horse's head. Otherwise, it's going to be sitting like this. If that's how you like it, then that's fine. But for me, trial and error, this is how it came out, and this is the way it worked for me. So then this is how you're going to end up with it all looking at the end. Let me put these to one side. Oops. And this is how your horse is going to look. So we did the legs with the body, very simple. And then I would wait a good 5-10 minutes before you try to do anything else with it, because otherwise what happens is the hot glue does not adhere to the cork, and so it snaps off. So you end up with all these pieces that you have to keep gluing on, and I'll show you what happens when you do that, because I did one of those, and I had to keep re-gluing him, and he came out a mess. That's okay. That's how we learn, right? Because if you don't do things and you don't try, then you never understand how to do it. You never learn. So this is a good way just to learn with simple corks. How hard can it be, right? So we got our body. We now put our neck with the V cut off. Simple, simple. And then we put our head on. I put the bottom here. I only had one more piece of wood, or else I would have brought extra in to show you. This was just little pieces of wood that I had picked up at a craft store, and I had it in my drawer for like forever. And so I said, oh, see? It came in handy. I never throw anything away. So now I have that. Now what do I do with it, right? So there are many different ways to do it. I saw it on the internet. And so you've got to remember, this is his butt. You give him a little butt. And so this is the little butt. That's the piece that you've cut off of one of the legs, okay? And all you're going to do is glue them on over here. I had already glued it on, or else I wouldn't have showed you. But what I did was I took this, and this is this tail. So this is his butt, right? I didn't glue the butt on, but I had some of this roping, and so I made little rope. So that's his tail. And so that would go here, like this, and I would glue it on. The next thing is you would need his mane. With this, I took this like this, and I just kind of fit it in. As you can see, it will fit in the outline to how you want it, okay? And you just fit it in there. Now, I used rope because it was easier for me, because I tend to burn my fingers a lot. These do have ears, and all I did was cut them out of a little piece of cork. My suggestion is to put the mane on first, then put the little ears. That way you can adjust them however you'd like them. Then the other parts are very simple to do. She wanted to be, her name is Rose, and she wanted to have a rose in her hair. This one was Gertrude, or Gertie, and he wanted a bow. So all I did was I got pieces of felt, and I'll put them out here so you can see, to make their saddle. Now, if you have pieces of leather or you have other things that you can do, it's just a little oval, that's all. And all I did was put it on, I glued it. I told you I'm a glue queen. And I glued it on like this, that's all. You can make it as fancy and not fancy as you want. The bridle, I just cut strips of this piece I had, and I just put it around the sides, and I did it around the nose. And then the woman I was working with, my dear friend, we were making these on a Zoom, and hers wanted one of these things. I think they're called bridles. I don't know what they're called. So I said, well, maybe mine does too. So you can make it however you want it. It's your choice how to, develop it. Have fun with it. It's cute, right? What's the difference? Do it with your kids, however. Now, this is the one I wanted to show you that I had glued. This was my first one. I glued it. I unglued it. It popped off. But the sample that they had showed on one of the stations was they used pipe cleaners for the mane and for the tail. If you like pipe cleaners better, if that's what you have in your house and you can work with them better, I'm sure they would be lovely. For me, the roping worked better for me because I could fit it in with my fingers and make it look more like a mane. So whichever you choose is fine. So those are the two, my corking exercises, or my corking structures, I should say. So now, I want to tell you about what I was doing. I was making I was making experiments so that I could come here and say, hey, look what I made. This is how you do it. But I learned so much when I made them. Now, I was the type of kid that if something went wrong, I let it go. I wouldn't ever try it again, right? Because I just wouldn't. I'd be like, okay, that's it, I'm done, right? As I've matured, I've learned that maybe look to see if the recipe is not correct. Maybe see if there's something I personally am not measuring correctly. You know, I would never take responsibility for what went wrong. I would just assume it was the program's problem or it was somebody else's problem or however. So this time I said, okay. The first thing I decided to make was, it was all over the internet how they made these crystals. They formed them over pipe cleaners. They grew them and this and that. So I'm going to show you my first designs. These were the first ones that I made. And if you really look close at them, I can't see a crystal from here to Chicago, right? There's nothing there. There's maybe a couple little things, little sparkles. And I'm like, what did I do wrong? Did I do something wrong? Or did I just not maybe boil it to the right temperature? What did I do wrong? So I decided that I would try it again. And, you know, and try it again, and try it again, and try it again, until I find something that would actually work, that I could bring to you and say, hey, look, I tried this. For me, it didn't work right. For you, it might. These are crystals that are made with, it was borax and cornstarch. And you put hot water and you mix it up. Then you take the heart, well, they said a pipe cleaner. The first one I read was a pipe cleaner. And you put it across like a bowl or something to dip it into the liquid without it touching anything. That one didn't work, so I tried it again. And so I ended up with, not what they showed in the magazine, but what I got something out of it. I did get some kind of crystals that I think is supposed to be a snowflake. And then I did get a heart. They're not the most beautiful things, but it was an accomplishment that I did because I kept trying and I kept doing it and I kept wanting to make it better and I wanted to succeed with it. Did I succeed with it perfectly? No. Am I happy with what I did? I finished the project. That was important to me because I usually would give up. So now I read some more on it because I always want to see what it is maybe I could do to make something a little bit different. So then they said, instead of hanging them in the water, you put the water at the bottom and let them grow from the bottom up. Makes perfect sense to me, right? So this is my project from the bottom up. Are there crystals in there? I have no idea. It just looks like a bunch of mold to me, but I tried it. It didn't work for me. So now, my son comes to visit me, and I'm telling him this, and he's listening, and he says, well, Mom, maybe you just need to put more of the product into the water. Maybe just the calculations were wrong, whatever. So I said, sure, okay. So he went to do what he needed to do, and I'm at the sink, and I'm like, all right, so maybe I didn't do it right. I'll take that. So I put the water in the pot. I mixed it, because at first I was doing these with the water from the coffee pot. And I'm like, well, maybe the water's not hot enough. Let me boil the water. He said, Mom, boil it, and then boil the stuff in the water. I'm like, oh, maybe that's the problem. Cool. Now, sit down for this one, because you're going to laugh. This is the project that ended up. This is the project where I boiled it. And then, this is what I got. This big concrete slab of nothingness. It feels like soap. So, did it work? Yeah, it did. I made something. Was it exactly what it was supposed to be? No. Will I ever try it again? Absolutely not. But you know what? I learned a lot from it. I learned to just keep trying different ways of doing, asking questions, finding out whether I'm doing it right, or maybe just it was something that just was, maybe it was the water. Who knows? Minerals. And that's what my son said. He said, Mom, you should have used distilled water, because there's a lot of chemicals in our water, right? And that may have interfered with how they were going to grow. So you try it. It was borax, cornstarch, and water. You boil the water, you put the cornstarch in it, and you put the borax. Borax is like a soap that you buy. So you know what? It was fun. I enjoyed it. And I said, well, I'm still going to bring it so you guys can see that it's fun to do things, and sometimes your projects don't come out perfect. And that's okay. You learn. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is this. And you're going to say, Jeannie, what on earth is this? Okay. I'm going to take them off of here because I think it's kind of funny. The directions were, you boil, I believe it was with the borax again. You boil this, right? And you put it in, I went out and I bought the silicone pan, because you had to put it in silicone so that it wouldn't stick. And it was supposed to make crystal clear sun catchers. And then you put objects in it. So I was wondering, it was glycerin, water, and cornstarch. That's what it was. And so you're supposed to boil it. And then when it starts to become thick, then you're supposed to pour it into the molds and leave it. And then it's supposed to be these sun catchers. So I'm thinking the first batch came out like this, right? And I'm saying to myself, that's interesting. I don't know what I did wrong this time. So I went back to the drawing board, and I had a white pan. And I'm saying to myself, well, maybe I overboiled it because I couldn't see when it was clear because of the white pan bottom. And I'm like, well, maybe that was the problem. I don't know. That's how they came out. So the second pan I did differently, but they still didn't come out. So what happened? I have no idea. But I was talking to other crafters, and a lot of times these things are put on, we think that they work. So just be cautious don't spend a lot of money. If you have the ingredients in your house and you want to try it, fine, go ahead. Me, I went and bought $12.99. I bought the pan. I went and bought all the products to try these, thinking, oh, this would be really cool that I could teach you guys how to do these sun catchers, and it didn't work for me. But that's a learning experience for me, to understand that maybe that's what I need to know is test the product, make sure it's okay, and then come here and then show it to you. But I wanted you to see that I do try different things. I don't just make quirky corks, animals, but I do try and do other things so that you can then try different things too and not be afraid to try them. Otherwise, I mean, these are all going to go in the trash, obviously, but at the same time, you got a good laugh out of it. And that's what life is about, isn't it? You know, we do things, we understand things, and then let it go. I mean, am I going to worry about that I didn't make the crystals on time, that these didn't work? No. But I learned from them. I learned what to do, what not to do, and maybe to understand that maybe some things, they just don't work. And it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. So anyway, so next time I think I'm going to do, if I can make them work, I made these cute little fairies out of pipe cleaners. And it sounds really funny, but I want to say hi to my little granddaughter, Alex, because she's the one that watches my show all the time. So hi, Alex. I'm going to make those pipe cleaner fairy dolls that you like. They're made out of a pipe cleaner. I made the wings out of resin, but you can actually make the wings out of anything you like. But we'll do that next time. So I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you had a good laugh. I hope you enjoy having fun with art. And I'll see you next time, because this is Jeanne B. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Have fun with art. Bye.